sorry about the bad lighting and the bad sound quality in today's video. I'm currently filming at night, which is not something I usually do, and I'm trying to not wake Phoenix up. So you'll have to forgive the fact that it's not the same quality it would usually be. I wanted to talk about something I think is really important that not a lot of people seem to be speaking up about. And when something is going wrong in society, the louder you are, the more people will listen to you and the more likely things will be to change. And this is definitely something that needs to change, preferably sooner than later. And that is the fact that movies as a whole, in every aspect of movies, are not disability friendly at all. And it seems like even though as a world we should be progressing more and more lately, it seems like we keep taking more and more steps backwards. Sometimes it is a deliberate thing. Sometimes the people or person clearly know what they're doing and they're just, being prejudiced in some way or another. And other times it's a complete accident, and it's one of those instances where if you are not disabled and you're not close to someone who's disabled, you don't really realize how it comes off. I'm going to be breaking this video down in a few different sections just to make this easier to follow. So we're going to start with actual movie making. When you look at movies, whether there is a disabled character or not, 9 times out of 10 it will be played by an able-bodied actor. It's someone who does not use a wheelchair or who is not deaf or not blind, so on and so forth, who is playing the character. And it's really frustrating because those roles are already few and far between. Very rarely do you see a movie come out that is strictly about a disabled person, and even when it is, ooh, don't even get me started. So it's already difficult to find work if you are a disabled actor because of how few movies are made about disabilities. Then on top of it, you see finally there is a casting call for a character that's in a wheelchair or has hearing aids or is blind or whatever, and you see that goes to a completely able-bodied actor. That's incredibly frustrating. You've just taken that part, very rare part, away from someone who actually deserved it, who has that disability and understands it a million times better than that able-bodied actor does. Then you come to the issue that already that was a slap in the face, and then the rare times a movie is made about disabilities, it's this huge melodrama. Half the time it's, oh, this poor person who's sick or who's been disabled in an accident or something, their life sucks because of their disability, and this able-bodied person has to come in and make their life so much better for them, so they're happy now. And it's like, excuse me? How come you always have to make the disabled person this poor damsel that needs rescuing by the able-bodied hero? Why does it always have to be this melodrama of, oh, they're dying, they just need one happy day. Oh, this poor frail baby. It's so annoying. Why can't the disabled character just be another character in the movie who just happens to have a disability? Yeah, you can show that they struggle sometimes. If it's someone who has, chronic pain or something, you can show that every so often there's a scene where they're having a hard time with the fact that they can't be included in something because they're having a high pain day. Or that if it's someone who is hard of hearing, they might be frustrated in a scene because everyone's talking at once and they can't pick up on a specific voice, so they're frustrated because they can't hear everybody correctly. Things like that. But you don't have to make every single movie with a disabled character only about the disability. It gets so insulting. Look on YouTube at any disabled person who reviews movies. I dare you to find 5 movies that we actually like that involve disabled characters. Usually they piss us off. They're really annoying. And then on top of it, it gets frustrating because able-bodied people watch the movie, they love it, they review it, they say how wonderful it was, and their disabled friends say, actually that movie was really harmful to us because X, Y, and Z, and these people get angry and silence the disabled friend. They're like, no, no, you just didn't get it, or like, this is why it was so wonderful, and it's like, well, we're not saying you can't have an opinion. You can enjoy the movie all you want, that's fine, it's your opinion. But you need to listen to us when we say, actually, it's not as wonderful as you think in terms of how it treats disabled people. Next, you come to the actual movie-going experience, which is a whole different issue altogether. You've got actually getting to the movie in the first place. Movie theaters are not as disability friendly as they seem to think. And as far as technology and everything has come these days, and as quickly as we can refurbish and rebuild buildings and everything, there's no excuse for it at all. I mean, I've seen people manage to install elevators in Victorian buildings, so what's your excuse for not updating a movie theater that's only been around for, 40 years or so? You start with when you first get in. There are a lot of movie theaters these days that want you to get a ticket in advance. And even if you don't have to, it's usually a good idea to make sure that you get the kind of seat that you want. And when you're disabled, you kind of have no choice. You have to make sure you get certain seating or you won't be able to get in and out comfortably. There's two issues with the disabled seating at movie theaters. One of the issues is the fact that depending on the size of the auditorium you're in, there might not be that many disabled seats for wheelchair users specifically and their carers, which means that if it's a fairly popular movie you want to see, like a Marvel movie or something, you need to hope that you booked far enough ahead they'll actually get a wheelchair-friendly seating option. And if you don't, too bad. I've been to one that the actual movie theater itself is actually pretty large, but there will be like 4 disabled seats in the entire auditorium. That doesn't help. A lot more than 4 disabled people are gonna need to watch a movie at once sometimes. And then you've also got the bathroom situation. The bathrooms have 1 disabled stall, and generally speaking, somebody is in it. More than half the time it's somebody who is not disabled and every other stall is open, but they take the disabled stall anyway. And other times it is another disabled person, and maybe it's someone with bad knees or something, and they're gonna take like 20 minutes in the bathroom. Now you've missed a big chunk of the plot of your movie because you needed to use the restroom and there was only 1 disabled stall in the entire place. And then you have what has always been kind of an issue, but seems worse than ever lately. I have had an enormous amount of trouble over the past couple of years going out to see movies, and it sucks because there will be movies I've been really looking forward to for like a year, and then I can't enjoy them, and it's because for some bizarre reason a lot of movies lately use a ton of strobe effects. I understand going into like a superhero movie or something that there's going to be a lot of like crazy motion in the sky and everything, that I can prepare myself for, but why so many strobe effects? It's most prevalent lately in horror movies, but it's kind of like across genres. It's this big issue that you are risking having seizures just trying to go out and have a couple hours of fun in your day. And there's just no reason for it. If there's not a scene taking place in like a club or a thunderstorm, there's just no reason for these heavy strobe effects. And it's absolutely awful because sometimes there's no warning at all for it. It just happens out of nowhere. And I've been in movies where I end up having like 6 seizures throughout the film because of how bad it is. And you can try to cover your face all you want. Sometimes it's just too much. It gets through your hands. You see it anyway and it sets you off. I don't understand why it's become such a popular method lately of getting some kind of point across in a movie, especially horror movies. Strobe isn't scary. It isn't scary. It doesn't build a lot of tension. pure darkness builds more tension than strobe, so why in the world are there all these strobe effects? Like, I've been looking forward to It Chapter 2 since the first movie came out, and it's horrible because just in the trailers alone, there's stuff that sets me off, and I'm like, great, I've been waiting since 2017 for this movie. I couldn't wait to see it, and now I might not be able to see it because of these heavy strobe effects that don't need to be there. Hollywood and the movies in general really need to start doing a better job making everything more accessible to disabled people. It's a huge issue. It seems to just be getting worse instead of better, and it's something that we all need to be talking about. Don't just make us a prop for your dramatic story. Understand that we are human beings and we have fully fleshed out lives just like any able-bodied person does. We deserve to be portrayed as real people and not props in a movie, and we deserve to be able to be casted in a movie, and we deserve to be able to enjoy watching a movie without feeling like we're being attacked by something that's gonna set off something bad in us. I hope this video shed some light on this very big issue, and if you are someone like me who has trouble with strobe effects or anything else setting off in movies, if you have a Tumblr, there's a guy called Movie Health Community, I believe. I always check his page every day. He updates his blog with both new and older movies just as he happens to see them. He tries to see newer movies on opening night, and just whenever he happens to be watching a movie at home, he'll upload an older movie too. He mentions every potential health warning. This is everything from motion issues to strobe effects, for seizure warnings to triggering materials, anything that could possibly upset someone physically or mentally. He tries to detail it as much as possible, and he does not give spoilers, and he does not, show any bias for or against a movie. It's only about the health warning. So he's really helpful. Unfortunately, he's really the only one I've found. So I always just have to kind of wait and see what he says. But I encourage you to also go out and start a community like what this guy has done. And if you have friends who are disabled and you are an able-bodied person and they say that there's issues in Hollywood with casting able-bodied people in disabled roles, or with disabled characters being portrayed as damsels, and that a movie is actually really negatively impacting their lives, or that they're having trouble seeing a movie, don't dismiss them, don't speak over them, don't argue with them. You do not understand where they're coming from, and in order to understand better what they're going through and how to fix it, you need to open your mind, open your heart, and listen to what they have to say. That's all I've got to say for right now. As always, do something that makes you happy today, no matter what anyone else thinks about it, and I will see all of you again soon.